Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be showcasing how to play like a pro. In front of you, you can see my 30-day statistics. We're sitting at a 78% win rate with around 3,250 average damage in Tier 10. This ranks me within the top 5 win rate players in the entire NA server for win rate, and in the top 10 when it comes to average damage for Tier 10. So, in today's video, I figured I'd talk a little bit about how I'm able to perform well in whatever tanks I play, some of the thought processes I have, and hopefully I can help some of you guys get a little bit better. So let's get straight into it. We're going to be doing this in the Regressor, the Tier 9 Blitz Nation Heavy. Now originally I was making a video on combat stabilization today, talking about how the mechanic is pretty useless and how we can expect to see the Stritzfon K, VK90, and T95E6 getting this mechanic in the next update of the game. But in my second battle of the Regressor, I decided, you know what, the game was so dang good that instead of actually doing that video on it, we're going to be doing this video showcasing how to think like a pro. So let's get straight into it. Let's make our way over to Normandy and take a look at this game in front of us. Now, we're up against quite a few Tier 10s and some pretty solid Tier 9s. The Tier 9s are a WZ-120, WZ-111 GFT, and a T-95. Now, I'll be real, the Tier 9s were not a threat this game, and to be real, the Tier 10s also weren't the most dangerous opponents, but quick thinking, being able to, constantly be on our toes, allowed us to come out with a game and deal over 7,000 damage in a Tier 9. That is an insane amount of damage, and the craziest part is we very easily could have done probably 8,000 damage if our E100 didn't get the final shot off. So, right in the beginning of the battle, we're going to use our mobility to get into the front line. Whenever you're playing whatever tank you're driving, you want to weigh your strengths, advantages, and weaknesses that the tank has going for it for whatever map you're on. For example, if we take a look at the Regressor, what does it have going for it? Well, it has 8 degrees of gun depression and a fairly well-armored turret. It features good penetration at 336 with calibrated shells, and it has very, very good mobility. With that in mind, the best position out of all of Normandy to most likely go would be to mid-hill. First of all, because we're so fast, we can usually beat the majority of enemy tanks here. As we can see, the only vehicle that was able to get to mid-hill was the Object 777, and this allowed us to get a free shell into his vehicle as he wasn't predicting us to be here so fast, and because we have nice alpha and gun depression, we don't even need to worry about being penned back. Now, this position right here, you have to be very careful, specifically because of these two bushes in the back of the map. Any map that you're playing on, you need to keep an eye on where the enemy tank destroyers are and what their tank destroyers are. As we said, they have a T-95 and a WZ-111 GFT in just Tier 9 alone. Both of those tanks have 640 alpha, they hit really hard, they have great pen, especially the WZ-111, and they also have a YAG. If there's a YAG or anything as a tank destroyer sitting right here, right now they can only see the turret on my vehicle, which is all I really want them to see because the turret's strong. But you're going to notice that I don't really try to go any further out because I know that if I do, the YAG or any other tank destroyer does have the opportunity to possibly nuke me. So right now, I'm playing passive, I'm playing calm, I'm not putting myself in a stressful situation where TDs can get a shell into us. We aim in a shot into the Object 777 and hatch him. Pretty easy. To be fair, he could have very easily avoided that shot. Now you'll notice that our T-22 medium got ammo-racked by the YAG, and the T-22's off to the side, so most likely the YAG is not down low. We got the Leopard off to the side, and I'm going to try and get an HE into his vehicle. Perfectly aimed shot, and bruh, what? Yeah, unfortunately, combat stabilization, the mechanic I was going to make the video on originally, screws me there. But there's really not much I can do about it. Right now, I have the choice of either shooting the Object 777 or dealing with the E100 and WZ-120. But thinking about my priorities, holding mid-hill, especially the higher part, right now is incredibly important. Because the moment I give up this hill, it allows this 777 to now start shooting our WZ-113, to push over, possibly shoot our Leopard, and get behind the E100. Then that would mean the E100 would have to turn, start dealing with tanks up here, which would then allow the guys down low to start pushing as well. The moment you give up any flank on a map and you start allowing the enemy to get aggressive and get free bleeds on your team is when you're going to fall apart very, very quickly. As you can see though, we've gotten some very easy penetrations into this Object 777. Unfortunately, he has a damaged ammo rack, and yeah, he's really not having the most enjoyable experience ever. We really wanted to get that clear there, and I was hoping that my premium would be enough to cut through his turret cheek, but it's not. Now, quick thinking, we got the Yag in front of us. I know that my turret is not great when it comes to high pen shells. In fact, the cheeks are only about 220. So I got to be very cautious. I don't want to put myself in a position where, you know, something like the Yag can shoot me. I know that right now he does not have the gun depression to hit me because we can actually see his vehicle is wedged up. So at this point in time, I know I can get one shell out. That's why I poked him and that's why I shot him. But obviously I need the back up. Now this is where knowing the strengths and weaknesses of your vehicle come mighty into play. For example, the 50 TP, or the regressor should I say, reverses at 20. I know this, and because of that, I'm using that 20 reverse to my advantage, being able to get a shell into this Yag and reverse faster than he can actually accelerate to catch me. If I was in, for example, an Object 777 or a VZ55, which only reverse at 12 to 13 kilometers per hour, there is no way I could have gotten away with the same maneuver. So whatever tank you're driving, you need to weigh the consequences and benefits of whatever maneuver you make. Sure, you might get that 470 roll with your VZ, but is it going to be worth it if just a moment later the Yag rolls around the corner and beans you for 800 damage plus whatever he rams you for? No, it's not. So definitely weigh the consequences and benefits of every situation here. Now again, I know that this Yag is not fast enough to really catch me, and because I know he's not going to stop, he's driving over the hill again. I know I've got plenty of reverse, so I'm going to get another shell into his vehicle. And now I'm going to think about my decisions. You'll see I took a quick look to where I was going to back up. Obviously, I'm not going to back up down this hill here, because if I do, the Shag is going to have enough time to drive right over and get an easy shell into me. That is not going to be worth it. So instead, I'm going to keep backing up the hill. I'm going to keep kiting this Yag over and over and over. Once again, the Yag makes a misplay. We get a nice shot right into his lower plate. Now again, whenever you're making a maneuver that you're trying to back out of somebody's position, you need to realize that, especially if you're backing up like I did into the open, that the Yag might not just be the only person you have to deal with. We have a Object 777, a WZ-111 GFT, and a T-95 behind us. You'll notice I took a very, very quick peek behind me to see what was going on. Making sure that I didn't pull too far forwards where the Yag could shoot me, I need to make a decision. Now, I got the Yag in front of me, which isn't a one-shot at 700 health. Or, I've got a 777 behind me, which is technically a one-shot 50-50 for a 450 damage per shot. So I make the educated decision to back up and go for the 777. He bounces us, which is quite nice. We aim in our shell, and we penetrate him. Now, one bit of advice I can definitely give any players is please aim in your shells. This is something that even a lot of skilled players seriously mess up on, is not fully aiming in. Normally, I like to aim in to a point where I know my shell is guaranteed the pen, because if I do that, it means I'm not going to be nearly as screwed by RNG, and it means that I can guarantee the pen rather than possibly missing because I didn't give it that last second to aim. So the 777 bounced me. I knew I had plenty of time to aim, so just like that, we got the clear on his vehicle. Now we've got the WZ behind me, but I know that the WZ isn't a problem, so I'm not going to waste my time trying to farm him. I'm going to go for this Yag. He's going for my E100, and right now I know that that E100 is really the only help I'm going to have left, as my Yag Tiger is, let's be real, I think he's AFK, actually, he is. So right now, I'm going to try and help out my E100, especially because he bounced, or actually no, the Yag bounced him, so I guess it doesn't matter too much, but that's all good. Right now, we're in a pretty solid situation. We're up to 4,700 damage. There's still 2 full health opponents up against us, and we're being careful now. At this point, you'll notice how I didn't just want to drive out into the open in front of obviously a tank destroyer. I do know and saw that the WZ is running the stock gun, which means he has 460 alpha instead of 640, but the T95 is still up here, and if I try to rush this WZ, the T95 could very easily get to my side. So instead, you'll see that I tried to poke my tank right over here in a position where we'd actually be able to hide our lower plate and use just our turret. Unfortunately, we actually can't spot that WZ in the current position it's sitting at. You'll see again, I'm trying to spot him here, but nope, no cigar whatsoever. That is because he's actually sitting completely still right now, and as long as you're sitting still in tank destroyers, you actually have very solid and effectively good camo. So I know at this point, I'm not just going to sit here and wait for that guy to make a move. I'm going to go to the next best spot I can where I can hopefully detect the WZ while also having the high ground over him. That way he can't see any of my weak spots and I'm fully haul down against him. So I was thinking, okay, I could poke him right here. This would be a fairly easy spot. Or I can keep on going over and over and over. And let's see, where's the WZ? Hello? Well, we haven't spotted him yet. Just seeing if I could spot him. He's not there. So I've decided, all right, I'm going to go a bit higher up. Even though it's probably going to be a bit harder for me to spot him up here, we are up on base cap. And if they try pushing that E100, all I need to do is step into base B, and we win. I mean, there's no way they're going to be able to catch me, especially because I'm much more mobile. So, we spot the WZ from where we currently are because he finally decides to move. We get a bounce, we plop on our adrenaline, the perfect time to use our consumable, and just like that, we're going to aim in another shell on his tank. For a moment, I was contemplating if I wanted to shoot premium AP, but I realized it probably wouldn't matter if my shell decided to screw me over. Now, this here is a good example of, again, being smart on your pre-aimed shells. I've got 4.4 seconds left on my shot before I'm able to get it out onto this WZ. He's undetected because he's upwards of 250 meters away. I can't spot him. So right now what I'm thinking is, what am I going to do to blind fire this WZ? Well, I need to predict his speed. You want to know whatever tank you're trying to blind shot speed is. I know that that is most likely a stock WZ, and the tank's not very fast to begin with, only 30-ish kilometers per hour. So I'm going to match his speed and pretend like he's driving. So I've guessed he's going to be around here. I take a blind shot, and we'll just have to see if that shell actually pens. And there you go. He gets spotted with 34 health. So matching where you think your opponents are going to go is a very easy way to hit blind shots. That was just a lucky shot, I'm not gonna lie. That was, I was just hoping it would pen because we're up to 6,700 damage right now. So, yeah, let's see if we can get any more out. At this point, I was really hoping that I could get the full farm on this T95. Our HE massively low rolls, dealing 464 when it very easily should have dealt like 600. So a bit unfortunate in the end. But to be fair, we hit that T95 full speed on the move and high rolled the shot. So I guess it's not too sad of a moment. Either way, this game we were able to deal 7,200 damage and block 2,060. In fact, we can make our way over to Blitz Stars and go over to the Hall of Fame. Heavies, tier 9, and scroll over to the regressor, which would be Blitz Nation, and we can actually see that it is the highest damage ever recorded in the vehicle. So, yeah, as you can see, pretty solid gameplay overall, and a great example on how to use the regressor. It is definitely not the best heavy, and it's not overpowered by any means whatsoever, but with a little bit of skill and understanding your tank's capabilities, map knowledge, and positioning, you too can get a lot more damage out. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.